This particular service call was for no rotation warning. And what I like to do with a no rotation warning, the first thing I like to do is replace the battery. The battery's in there, and I did replace it because I need to know if there was a fault with the battery, if the battery was old, the battery was dead, whatever the case may be. I start with a reference line of a good battery. And then if I get the no rotation warnings, then I typically move on. I try to avoid replacing the starter because that's the starter way down there. This red cap and those 3 red wires, and then that's the back side of the starter, and this is how much room you have to work in because the bolts are up here. So it's not fun. You have to lean in the cabinet, put your head against, that might have been where I had my head against it. Those wrinkles are about right. And you replace the 2 bolts. That's the old starter. Ooh. That's probably my blood on it. But the 2 bolts go in here. And as you can see, they're quite long. They got to go through that whole block. The head sits up here. You got to engage, I don't know, 1/2 inch maybe down there. But, and this isn't light. That's quite heavy. And this is the starter solenoid. It's built right onto it. It's not like the older ones where they were on the wall and you can do them separate. And then this here is the Bendix. These gears right here. This comes out, engages the flywheel on the engine. It spins it to start. Then it spins itself free to return. And that's how it's supposed to work. These starters were a problem, and that's what bothered me about this particular unit, is this should have been covered under warranty. They replaced the battery after 6 months, I think, and then after a year. And somebody should have figured out that there was more wrong. I came in and all I could do was question the last battery. So I put in a brand new battery, and then I kept coming back and finding no rotation. And I knew I had a brand new battery. I top them off before I even put them in a unit. So I knew it wasn't the battery. It was either the ground, because a lot of times you will hear that the ground isn't good on these because they attach them to a painted portion of the generator to get a ground. And I didn't think that was it. I replaced that starter down there, and it hasn't had a no rotation warning since. So I think I'm good. I think it was covered under warranty. I requested it to be covered under warranty because this unit wasn't that old, and any delay to get outside the warranty was by the service techs who only replaced the battery and moved on. So, not the fault of the owner. I see an oil leak. It's not a bad oil leak. Looks like it might be coming from up here. These clamps right here, they claim those are the best clamps you can put on there because it's a even amount of pressure all the way around the hose. But boy, I see a lot of these things leaking just like that. And I'll replace them with just a regular hose clamp, and that'll fix them. I've also seen there's a cup. The oil filter screws onto a cup, and I've seen where the screws that hold the cup on come loose, and they're pretty difficult to get to tighten because once they're in use, the oil gets on the screws and you got to dry them off and try to put on some Loctite to get the oil cup to stay hanging on. But that's another story. I was here for the starter. And I had heard in forums that different starters, I guess they were junk when they went in, and Generac replaced it with a newer model. And I forget what they said, but all I knew is it needed a new starter. That's what they look like. That's the box they come in. And I can close this service request. Just add a note that next time they check it, bring some clamps for them oil hoses.